Hey there, Outliers. Okay, so Mahesh and I are getting set up right now for our special webinar today. I'm in the Discord right now, making sure everybody knows that we're online. Right now, Mahesh, I are live at this very moment. See you there. Now, in this webinar, we're going to do things a little bit differently. We are not going to be taking questions from the chat on the YouTubes. Now, reason being is that this is a customer focused event here. So if you are an Outlier customer, what we want you to do is go over into this section right here, Friday special webinar, and add in your questions. Now, there were a couple of questions as far as like the way that I trade. Goran had this question here. We're going to skip any questions in regards to the way that I trade because this is more of a platform demo webinar that we're going to do. The objective with this is we're going to go through everything in Outlier, top to bottom. And I'm going to talk about it. Mahesh is going to talk about it. And we are going to make a series of instructional videos because a lot of our customers have been asking for the instructional videos from this. So this is absolutely the time that if you have a question on anything at all inside the platform, please do us a favor. Go over into the Discord, into this section right here, the Friday special webinar. Put your questions in there, and we will get started. And, please do say hi. We're excited to have you here, Brian and Peter. Thank you both for showing up. Like I said, please put your questions inside of here because we'd only want to chat about this with our customers, right? You guys are helping make Outlier a success. So it's up to us to make sure that we make it a success for you. So Goran is here. Hey, how you doing, man? All right. So we're going to wait just a couple minutes to make sure everyone is here before we jump in. Mahesh, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for having me. So I know we know each other for almost, I would say more than 4 or 5 years now.
Oh, man. I think we started working together like 2017. I mean, it's been a while. Yeah.
And myself, I mean, I am into entrepreneurship for it's almost been like 16 to 18 years now. I started my first company back in when I was in college. My special interest was like financial market. And Mark and I actually met back in 2015, 16. At that point of time, we had some ideas around, hey, let's build something around for stock market. And we ended up actually getting one early client who was just starting his own hedge fund. And we actually ended up building a custom end-to-end trading platform for that person. And eventually, over a period of time, that company grew. They started many other, funds and all that. And that was one of our early success stories. And over a period of time, we wanted to build something for, traders, active investors, because some of our research around tracking investor sentiment, like for the shorter to medium term, was actually so good. And we thought that if we can build some tool around it, it can really help your traders and active investors, especially. So we started our early testing, building early models like back in 2017 timeframe. I mean, there was no outlier then. I mean, there was no outlier name. We didn't even know that we're gonna offer it like this. And back in 2020, we had early success in identifying market drawdowns. Like our focus was, hey, can we identify these upcoming drawdowns, especially on the sector and indexes? And that's what we did back in 2019, 20, that time frame, later 2019. And when COVID happened, we were able to actually predict that around February 21. I remember that date specifically because all of our models were like, hey, there's something going on in the market, something bad is about to happen. And we weren't sure. Like, honestly, Mark and I said, like, there's a bug in it. So we ended up actually we waited for a few months, and market turned around, and it happened that was a pretty good model. And then we started building upon that. We thought, hey, let's why don't we open it for like free pilot, ran it for a few years. And now, like literally January this year, we were like literally scratching our head that how we can get access to a lot of people, in shorter period of time. And then there
Hmm.
we stumbled upon AppSumo. We talked, and it was a perfect strategy. 3 months, we were thinking, hey, let's you know talk to people who will actually use and can provide the feedback. So that was so important to us, actually, people using it, providing us feedback. So I think we are almost going to graduate from that stage, probably a month, less than a month left, with our lifetime deal with them. But I can tell you, Chris, last 3 months, phenomenal. Us so much,
Hmm.
that, hey, we need to have a support system, we need to have a Discord channel, we need to have, live trading rooms,
Right.
and our members actually started giving us a lot of good feedback. And we were always on, like, it's like drinking from fire hose.
Yeah.
And and we were able to actually implement these changes just because it was like a sword hanging on your neck, like kind of
Mm.
feeling like a day before your exam kind of feeling, you know you know so I think that really helped us building what we have built so far. And I think we will continuously building this product, this platform, so that I want to make sure that I can use it, you can use it with confidence. And that's why I want to make sure that involvement from these uh, real for users. I'm saying it's so important for us. It's going to help us build something really really good.
It's already helping. I mean, we have made, the last just week, a handful of changes right away in the last week after we released the 2.0. In fact, there was like a total different version. And I'll do a little history lesson for myself with the company here. Mahesh, Mark, and I started working together. I believe I'll be back in 2017 or 2018, and they had a different product that they were working on. And so they reached out to me to sponsor my podcast at the time. And that relationship, continued on. But they kept saying, hey, we got something coming. We got something ridiculous coming. We got something monumental coming. And all, teasing it to me for years. And I'm like, okay, fine. What is it? They finally released, their initial first version of it. And they gave me access. And I kid you not, I remember having the conversation with Mahesh and Mark, and I'm like, what is this? I don't even know how to use this. What am I supposed to do with this, Mahesh? And they literally gave me coaching sessions on it. And at the end of the coaching sessions, I would still be scratching my head like, I don't get it. And to see it go from what it was to where it is today with the ease of use, the functionality, the way that you can just glance at the screen, know everything you'd want to know all at once. It's been a tremendous shift. And the way that we started partnering up was Mahesh actually made me a deal. He said, look, I'm going to make you a deal that you can't refuse, Chris. I want you to be part of the team. I want you to be a partner. So they actually bought 10minutestocktrader.com, absorbed me into the company. And so I'm the director of marketing and trader relations with OVTLYR. And I trade with it every single day. And part of that, too, I think is really monumental because we show people every single day how to use the platform, right? We're live every day talking about how I'm using it, how other people are using it, some opportunities that they're seeing, some opportunities that I'm seeing, because it's always changing every single day. Like you can't log in once and expect it to just have everything you need because you got to keep coming back every day, looking at the new opportunities that are presented to you every single day on the bull list, on the bear list, on your favorites, right? One of my favorite things is to mark my stocks that are favorites and then wait for the email to come through. The email that says, hey, there's an alert. There's a sell signal. Hey, there's an alert. There's a buy signal. That's so easy. I mean, honest to God, the ease of use is easier than anything I've ever done, right? So I am super, super proud of this product and proud to be a part of this company. And I'm glad that we can do this, Mahesh.
Oh no, thank you. I mean, I personally also, like, apart from these buy and sell signals, I mean, and you will see me going over when we are sharing the screen shortly, how I look at it. But I think I have my own strategy. The cool thing here is, you have your own strategy, how you trade, right? I do learn from you a lot, but I do have my own strategy that I use, and which I will share some of
Mhm.
my, those how I look at it and all that. And I have had my own success with that strategy. And I met a couple of other traders who use our platform, and they have their own kind of tweak to how they use this data. So the good thing is, what I love about this is everybody can use our data and basically along with their existing strategies and see success. That is something that I'm very, very excited. And in fact, I would like to learn how people are using it, because we may improve how we are displaying it, or if we need to add certain things in future. So that's really exciting for me.
Yes, absolutely. So, our objective here today is to go through every single section, and then we're going to clip these into smaller videos where we can showcase these inside the platform. So, for example, if you go on to, let me share it here. If you go on to the bull and bear list and the watch list area here, we're going to clip a video out of this, and it's going to be something like a little question mark symbol says, hey, how do I use this? And then this video that we're making right now will pop up and a clip just for this section here. So that's our objective today, is to provide as much in-depth training as possible. We're going to go through the Discord and answer all the questions inside the Friday special webinar section. And we're also going to go through the support forum and address those issues and questions as well. So like I say, this is a special webinar for customers of OVTLYR. So we want you to go into the Discord, which you already have access to. In fact, if you don't have access, go inside of OVTLYR, click this Discord button right there, and then you'll be right in with us. We want you to add your questions right here so we can cover them today. So with all that out of the way, all the introductions behind us, Mahesh, let's get started.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start here on the watch list page. So Mahesh, how about this? How about you go first and tell us how you designed it, how you came up with the UI for this, and then I can talk about how I trade around with it, and you can give how you trade around with it too.
Sure. So the key thing here is, I do have certain stocks that I follow, and I wanted to make sure that I can quickly come to a place where I can see what is the update on those stocks are. So that is your favorite list. You can click on that little star button on any stock page, and it will be added to your favorites. So favorites is nothing but simply a consolidated list of stocks that you follow. And if you go to the other tab on the favorites itself, like right next to the star, this
Here.
one, we have by default listed all the sector ETFs and indexes that we cover here. And you can mark them like a favorite as well, in case you are interested in receiving the notifications on any sector if there is a new buy signal comes, or if there is a new uptrend or downtrend, that overlay start showing up on these sectors. So it's basically, make it easier for you, that we have created this section. Bull and bear list are simply, we created to make sure that, to create the focus, like where you want to focus your day, like what are the opportunities, what are the daily opportunities where I can get in, and where I need to be careful. So the way I look at it, I do not blindly trade these. First thing, that is a thing that I tell everybody, that you look at it, if there is an opportunity, make sure that you click on the stock and you go to the stock detail page, look into other data points, so that you are not blindly trading. I would never ever recommend that you just start buying and selling based off of this. You can click on that expand button, like in that bull bear list. Here, what we are trying to do is making it simple for you to filter. Like for example, if I'm only interested in stocks where the uptrend or downtrend is coming, so I can simply go here and select uptrend or downtrend, and I'm able to see all the stocks which are in uptrend right now. So that makes my life easy. And again, there are some other factors I look into, but this is how I kind of use bull and bear list to identify some of the hot opportunities where I can get in, you know, and if I'm just long only, where I should be careful or close my positions by looking at the bear list.
There we go, right there. And so, Mahesh, whenever a stock is on this list, what's the criteria that puts it on this list?
Yeah. So before bull and bear list, we built bull and bear list. Our core data was your price oscillator that you see on the stock detail page, which we can get to. If you want to show that.
Yeah. So that is the blue line. Once
Yeah,
this loads here in just a second.
That is the
blue line
blue
here.
line, which I'll get to in a second, what it does. And then you have your heat map below it, the little this thing. So combination of these two, along with some of our own like internal data points, we try to on day-to-day basis look into, hey, which way the price trajectory is headed and which way it's changing direction. Is it in line with our like heat map? We look into certain factors and try to identify a place where the reversal has happened, and also it doesn't give false positive. I mean, if you think about it, when you're trying to identify a reversal, there are fair amount of chance that that may be a false positive. So it is kind of very hard to identify a reversal in the price trajectory for a stock, and that is what our algorithm does, to identify these reversal points with high confidence, and that's how we generate these buy and sell signals. And that is the criteria. Every day it goes through our algorithms, run on all of the stocks, and see if there is a reversal is about to happen. And if we are confident, if our algorithm is confident enough, if it is confident enough, then it will generate a buy or a sell signal. And that's how you will see a daily list of stocks in bull and bear list.
Gotcha. So it's everything so the algorithms are running every single night. And then whenever they identify a buy signal or a sell signal that day, they're then added to the bull list or bear list, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a daily process.
Perfect. Awesome. So, okay. So I'll take a minute and just talk about the way that I like to trade around with this. So it's really great to hear different people's perspectives because like Mahesh is saying, the data is available for you to interpret it in a myriad of different ways. And you can absolutely take these lists and say, okay, I only want to look at buy signals today with a green overlay, right? That's actually the way that I like to trade. I like to look at which stocks have a green uptrend overlay, which stocks are showing a buy signal, and then it just narrows the list down for me, right? I remember, Mahesh, actually, whenever we've seen some market drawdowns, the bear list grows fast. There are days, I kid you not, I remember one day we were in the trading room and the bear list had 700 names in a single day. Like everybody, it's like, get your money out of the market as fast as possible. I remember that specifically. So like it's very dynamic, right? All the time, these are being updated. But if you're a person who likes to maybe try to catch a stock as it's going down, maybe catch the bottom, maybe you're looking at a downtrend with a buy signal, maybe that's for you. But it just makes it easy, in my opinion, to have this all in one place. And, you can do all kinds of different filters. You can sort by price. You can add the overlay. Maybe you only like to trade a certain sector. You can sort by the dates, and it just makes life a lot easier. And in fact, Mahesh, I did not know that this was here. You taught me something today.
Oh, okay.
So I was really glad to see this, that you could actually see all the ETFs in one place. So very, very cool. And in fact, one thing we didn't mention earlier is that it's got the list of stocks, but it also has ETFs segmented out from those stocks. So we cover, I think it's over 1,700 of stocks and ETFs when you combine them all together, right?
Yeah, so around 150 indexed ETFs only. In near future, we are planning to add more ETFs as well as more stocks. So we will do that, and you may see increase in number of stocks and ETFs in near future.
Absolutely. Cool. So, with that being said, I feel like we've covered everything you'd want to know on the watch list. Mahesh, is there any other areas on the watch list you want to take a look at?
Not on watch list. I just
Okay.
want to tell that you mentioned about number of stocks changing, that number changing in bull and bear list daily, which actually has a good information when you are trying to get a grip of which way market is headed, right? And that data point we do have, but we have been talking about how we can display that data. So I think one of the thing in future, near future, we are working on creating another tab you will see, which will talk about a macro kind of view of the market, which will have some of this information. For example, how many stocks are in that green uptrend region, or how many stocks, number of stocks in red uptrend region. Why this is important? Because if you see that trend of lot of red zones, I'm calling it red zone, or these red downtrend regions are increasing, it may be valuable in thinking that a market correction is about to happen or it's already happening. So I think data points like these, which we do have visibility, we are working on taking those data points and kind of building something more useful on the macro level, which again is something not available today, but we are working on it.
Very cool. All right, well, let's do this. Let's start and let's work down this page or this section over here
Sure.
before we go into the individual stock information. So let's start here with the index and sectors. So if I click this, you'll notice that it defaults over to XLF. Now, this is pretty cool because if you want to take a look at XLF, you've got all the information here. But let's say you want to look at the indexes as a whole, what's going on? You can click this area up here. Look at that. It actually spits out and shows right there which direction are all these indexes going, right? You've got the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, discretionary, energy, financials, healthcare, industrials, materials, real estate, staples, technology, utilities, and communications. Now, you'll notice here that many of them, as of today, have a green background with a little green arrow on top of that. What is that telling me, Mahesh?
So first of all, it will not just default to XLF. It will default to whatever last sector or index that you have selected. So
Cool.
let's say if you select S&P 500,
Mhm.
next time you log in, it will default to that. So it's just
Gotcha.
doing that. These green arrows are literally those uptrend regions. So the green regions that you see on the chart, like if that particular sector or index is in that uptrend region, then you will see these green arrows light up. And if they are in downtrend region, you will see those red down arrows light up. And if there is nothing, if it is in those white areas where we do not identify whether it's an uptrend or downtrend, then you will see these like bluish colors and nothing, no arrow there.
Gotcha. Well, that makes it easy. Okay. So since we've already got XLF pulled up here, let's look at financials. Now, this screen I noticed on a index like this is a little bit different from an individual stock. And one thing that really strikes me when we look at the index versus an individual stock, right? Down here in the bottom right-hand corner on the indexes, see this constituent map, and it keeps moving around. It keeps updating. What is that?
Oh, this is so useful. And I have noticed, I was talking to some members, and literally, they were not making use of this tool. What we do, we have a ranking, fear and greed ranking for each stock internally. And this chart right here is simply, you're seeing these are ranked from high red, means like high fear zone, to high greed zone. So at any point of time, like let's hover your mouse over to, let's say, 2020 drawdown,
Oh,
Chris,
yeah. Okay.
if you may.
Let's
And it will
find
change day to day, by
COVID
the way.
drawdown right
That
there.
all the way left. Yeah.
All the
left.
way left.
Yeah.
Oh, Over here, over here. Right
Yeah.
there it is. Okay.
So if you hover your mouse over there, this will
Oh, wow.
what it is showing that at this point of time, right? You like think about go back to that time. Like we'll talk about the other data supporting data point, but if you're looking right here, what you will see that lot of companies within the sector, because it's a constituent map, it consists of stocks which are in that sector or ETF. Lot of the companies are in red, means lot of these companies are exhibiting fear, right? And technically, if you think about it, what is the good time to buy, right? If you are going long, then you want to buy when market is like oversold, or when investors have reacted so much that right now there's so much fear in the market that there are good buying opportunities. This constituent map provides a visual information on how it changes day to day. And if you start moving your cursor a little bit right, you will start seeing this constituent map getting updated on the chart. Yeah, it will
There we
update
go.
and you will start see this shift. So it's like this pendulum that goes left to right, right to left, left to right. And especially the good opportunity, the good buying opportunity come when you see lot of companies in red,
Mhm.
and of course the supporting other supporting data point that you are seeing. And lot of, you need to be very careful when there's too many companies in that green, and if it is tilted all the way, toward that green side.
Yeah.
Then if you are thinking, oh yeah, Tesla is a great buy because my neighbor made 10%. Yeah, it has a good run, and then suddenly you buy. And what happens in many scenarios, the stock goes down, and it's not just me, I mean it's just market. It
Right.
can't keep on going forever up, it will correct. So that is this particular data point is for.
Okay, I have a question. So I'm looking at the constituent map on the bottom right, and then
Mhm.
I'm looking at the behavioral heat map here. Do these correlate to each other? Right? If I
So
go in the deep red here, does it show a deep red on the constituent map? Seems like it might.
yeah, there is a, because the way this ranking is derived is from our heat map, and actually a combination of heat map and oscillator. So there is a correlation between that, and all it does is give you that, at any point of time, when you are making a decision, do add this data point into your decision making, because it will help you, for that particular sector or an index. It will give you that visibility even when you are looking at a stock which is in financial sector. And if you are seeing lot of companies in that green, like on the green side, and if you're thinking, oh yeah, it's a great opportunity, sometime what happens is you take that, and you may see that those behaviors where stock may go up a little bit, down a little bit, it's not going up as you expected. Why? Because right now most of the companies are exhibiting greed, and there's only that much they can go up. I mean,
Mhm.
correction eventually will happen. So this tool helped me even make decision on the individual stock level, not just on the sector level.
Okay. So when I'm looking at this constituent map and I see down at the bottom, for example, at this particular data point, there were 220 companies reflecting greed and
Mhm.
15 companies reflecting fear. If I were to have gone into one of the finance companies at that time, would it have shown on their heat map down here in greed as well?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah,
okay.
so it okay. So that is not true always, because
Okay.
right now there is no visibility on which companies are lying where. Maybe
Right.
that is
That's why
something
I
we
was
can.
asking. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that is something we can add in this chart, so that you can see if that particular finance company is in that red zone, but you can easily look at that heat map, and you
Hmm.
can make it out. If it is green, then it's toward the green side,
Yeah, that makes total
right?
sense to me.
So that's how you look at it. Like you can go to that individual stock company page, look at whether you're seeing the heat map which is green or red, then you can
Mhm.
easily determine whether it's in this green or red zone.
Gotcha. Okay, so since we've been talking about the behavioral heat map, let's discuss that next, right? So down at the bottom of the page here is this indicator called the behavioral heat map. And this has actually gone through several upgrades as well in the time that I've been working with this. And one thing that I really appreciate is up here in this area, you'll see as I move my cursor around, it gives different details like the date, the closing price, if there's an uptrend, or if there's even a buy or sell signal associated with that trend. But you'll notice as well the heat map value. So G35, for example, R23, for example. This I find to be really useful. I like to trade around this actually. Whenever I'm trading and I'm going long, I don't want to get into a stock that's too far greedy, right? Whenever I'm trading this, I'm like, okay, I want people to be greedy with the stock, but if they get over greedy, if it gets too green, then I don't want to be in that stock anymore because, like you mentioned just a minute ago, the corrections can occur, especially when you've run out of buyers, right? When you've run out of buyers, who's left? It's only sellers. And the same thing is true maybe on the other side, right? When it's a deep red, you've run out of sellers, and then people are looking to start buying once again. So if you don't mind, just give me some breakdown on this behavioral heat map and what goes into it, and maybe how you trade around it.
Okay, so think about it on this particular data point. It's like for that stock, you have investors, market participants who are trading that stock, and we have a way to measure what kind of behavior they are exhibiting, like what is their sentiment is. So it's essentially we are able to track that, and it took us like many years actually to develop this algorithm. It's not like happened like in a week, but it essentially is telling you whether the investors have overreacted, right? So when you see those red zones, red color in the heat map, or green or darker green, so it measures the degree to which these investors, not just one investor, group of investors, like react day to day for that stock. uh, and I'm not talking about the price. Okay, there is a correlation with the price, but we are able to capture, how do I put it, that overreaction, whether it is pushing the stock down or if it is pushing the stock up. That's how you are seeing those red and green. So if it is increasing, R1 to from R1 to going to, let's say, R45, right? So you will probably see that price is also falling down. Why? Because right now investors are overreacting, and because of that overreaction the price is falling. And for the ease of use, we are able to show it in this heat map in this
Mm-hmm.
way. So essentially the red heat map is the overreaction of investors that pushing the price down, and green heat map is essentially the overreaction of the reaction of the investors, which is kind of pushing the price up. The key here is at some point of time they turn around, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's where your oscillator actually add value. Because if market is falling, right, in downwards, reversal points are so important, because without them you cannot gauge, if it is changing direction or not. And that's where your oscillator actually help to identify those reversals very accurately.
So what are some of the components that go into the behavioral heat map, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm a price trader, and whenever I hear about behavior, what goes into that? I have no idea.
Yeah, so it's a lot of, like, over period of time, we started with lot of data points. We started with your price, volume, all of those data points. And then we also started scraping a lot of data from internet. We also buy a lot of sentiment data. We also scrap a lot of sentiment data, and we have some internal algorithm to build, kind of we transform some of this data that we collect. We buy some unique data from some of the providers, and then we have a way to transform this data internally, so that it actually reflects what these investors are kind of going with, whether they
Mhm.
are like fearful or greedy, which kind of correlates whether it's pushing the price or down or up. So it's kind of a complicated algorithm, but we have probably more than, I would say, ton of data points that go into, and we didn't have an answer early on. Honestly, I didn't know the recipe, exact recipe, and that's why I said it took us years to build this, because there was one core algorithm that we started with, that Mark actually came up with, and then we kind of added the AI component on top of it, and started adding all of these data points on top of it, because it's very important to measure this correctly. And if you look at, how it is doing, you'll see it's so powerful. You'll see
Hmm.
it's so powerful actually, that, if you know about it, like if you're watching it, if you're learning about our heat map and oscillator, if you are able to kind of get used to these two data points, I think you'll probably don't need anything else, in my opinion. Of course,
Very
these
cool.
uptrend, downtrends, all of these things help. Signals, of course, help, because you need to know where the opportunities are.
Yeah, and like I say, I trade on this every day, so I am a huge advocate of that. So let's go down a little bit on the page here to the directional volatility histogram. So I like to look at this on really strong examples. GameStop comes to mind. So let's pull up GameStop because it's a real obvious on stocks like this where they've had these humongous runs, just how this directional volatility histogram works, because it's trying to find how much of a change happens how frequently, right? So for example, I like to you look at GameStop because it's got these like ludicrous changes up here where these giant fat tail changes, whereas in the middle it's a pretty standard distribution right there.
Yeah.
But you can go to something like Apple, and it's got a lot wider of a standard distribution here, right? It's got moves on both directions.
I'll make it
So
simple for you
yeah,
actually, how I can explain, so
please
that
do.
that way, everybody gets it. And I'm kind of a person, I'm a technical in nature, yet I like to be explained in a simple manner so that I can understand. And yeah, would you mind opening that screenshot that I sent you?
Yes, I got
Just
it right here. This one.
okay. So if you're looking at it, right, what is directional volatility in histogram? Essentially, what we have built is, we have way to calculate a downside risk and upside risk, when it comes to volatility. So we measure, volatility, not just like how, okay, yeah, volatility is high. It can mean anything. It can mean that, due to high volatility, it is, pushing prices up or down. So we have been able to solve for that, at any point of time, if the volatility is high, whether it's a positive volatility or negative volatility. So we have, basically, solved for that first. And what it tells you, over last 4.5 years that we track, how the stock actually did, you know what was the real risk of owning, this stock, how the stock has responded to volatility in the past, whether it gave you positive returns, whether it gave you negative returns, whether it was just, consistent, with how it has reacted. And if you look at the images that I sent you, right? So let me just open it, because I'm not able to see it on your screen. So I'll just open it on my side. Give me one second.
I think this is a good example of a right cluster, because if you look at the
Yes,
Apple
yes,
stock right here, you can see how it
yes.
clusters
So
on the
let's
right
talk
hand
about that.
side.
Yeah. So the blue is your standard distribution, and again, you don't need to know. All you need to see is whether these greens are like toward that right hand side, reds are more toward left hand side.
Mhm.
If there is a wider peak, or if it is like a tall peak. In that image that I sent you, if you don't mind opening it up, because I can explain you what each kind of these image mean when you're looking at this, let's say this Apple stock, it has this right cluster. What it means that this stock has seen lesser downside risk over recent history. Means last 4.5 year, this stock has seen probably given you better returns if you were long on this stock. If you see more red cluster toward the left side of that distribution curve, then what it tells you that this stock has seen greater downside risk over recent history. Means if you were long on this stock, you probably lost money. If you see more wider peak, right, like that, then what it tells you that this stock has seen more erratic extremes over recent history. You may see one day it's just running up, and the next day it's falling drastically. And then if you see these tall peaks, then this stock has performed like more consistently in recent history. When I say recent history, I'm talking about 4.5 years that you are seeing on our platform. So we are tracking just for that period. We are not tracking from the origin of the stock.
Hmm.
So all it does, it gives you that feeling about that stock. Oh, I'm trying to go long, on Apple, for example, how it did in the recent history.
Right.
So it's useful information, yet it's one of those information that you can't just trade with alone.
Right.
It's good to know kind of information.
For sure. For sure. Okay. So let's go back to indexes and sectors. So we're back on XLF, and we already covered constituent map. We covered directional volatility. We covered the behavioral heat map. Let's zoom in and focus in on the chart here. So if this is one of my favorite features, Mahesh, by the way, this zoom feature that goes from weekly to daily candles, like smooth as butter. Just, I love that. It just makes me so happy. I can do this all day. But, looking at the chart here, we can zoom out and see, periods of these red colors in the background and green colors in the background. Now, if you look on the status bar up here, it'll say overlay with an uptrend,
Mhm.
overlay downtrend. And if you go back to the watch list, that is the same as the overlay that's shown on the bull and bear list right here. We'll let that load for just a second. So these overlays right here are the overlays that we're talking about here on the chart. So Mahesh, what goes into these overlays here, right? What do you assign to have a red or green or white overlay?
Yeah, I mean, the underlying data point, we do consider price here for sure, along with our heat maps and oscillator. So the algorithm that we ended up building combine all of these components. What was, I'll tell you one of the challenges. The challenges was like, how do you not one day show green and then next day show red?
Oh yeah.
Because price can go up today, and next day, next 2 days you may see correction, yet you see that in our uptrend and downtrend regions, you will see that consistency. Yes, you will see some noise. Okay, I'm not saying that it's 100% perfect. There is a noise in it, but in most of the cases there is this consistency, which gives me confidence that when a stock is an uptrend on the chart, these green overlays, then I am confident that, okay, yes, if I am going long on this stock, right, or if I am buying call options, for example, I can go for like bit, rather than few days, few weeks, I can go for like 2 month expiry. It's just my
Mm-hmm.
personal choice. I go for a little bit longer
Mm-hmm.
and let it run. Why? Because the price is not gonna just consistently go up. Never happens.
Right.
The price is gonna go up one day, go down next day. But the key thing is with our uptrend and downtrend overlays, it gives you that confidence that it's in that uptrend, and then I can risk a little bit more. And again, that's just me. If I have to define when I am risking more or risking less, especially when it comes to call options or going long on a stock. I look for these green regions. If the green region is present, not only just for a stock, but also corresponding sector. If think about it, you're picking up a certain stock. I also look at the sector as well. If both are like in that uptrend, that gives me a lot of confidence in going long, as well as buying call options
Hmm.
for that particular stock.
And that's the way that I like to trade as well. Is I like to see on the chart, I like to see it moving in one direction, and then having this overlay right here gives me extra confidence, right? And going long or even going short, there's different opportunities to look at it either way. So we covered on the chart the overlays. Let's talk about the big circles right here, the big elephants in the room, I guess you could say. The buy and sell signals right here on the chart.
Okay.
This, in my opinion, as a trader, is one of the most valuable aspects of OVTLYR.
Mhm.
I mean, you've got the behavioral heat map, you've got the constituent map, you've got so much data, but in layman's terms, what do I do with it? Well,
Okay.
by all means, you've got these signals that you could start trading around. It makes it
Yeah.
just that simple.
Yeah. And before talking about buy and sell signal, can we talk about the oscillator?
Oh, without a doubt, the blue line right here. We can
Yeah.
circle back to the buy and sell signals in a minute.
Okay, so let's start with oscillator. Think about it. We have built an algorithm that actually can predict which way price is headed in the near term to intermediate term. Means it can you may see these oscillators going in certain direction for a few weeks to even for a few months in some cases. Uh, the key important thing here is the reversal point, because when we were building these algorithms, we want to make sure that these trends, these price trends that we are predicting for a particular stock, we are able to accurately predict the reversal as well. So that's exactly what is the blue
Mm-hmm.
overlays are. These oscillator actually has a directional quality to it. When you
Mm-hmm.
look at it, you can think about, oh yeah, this is a price trend. Oh, if it is going from bottom to up, like from low point to high point, think of
Like
it as
this right here.
that the price, it's an upward trajectory. When it is going up to down, it's in the downward trajectory, so there is a pressure, right, on the price. So you need to be careful when it is in that downward trajectory. Reversal points are equally important, because when it is reversing from that bottom to up, that is where most of our signals will come. So we are ready to
Oh.
actually switch to these buy and sell signal conversation now, if you're ready.
Okay, okay. So the buy and sell signals come at these reversal points where the
Reversal points
oscillator
plus,
has
yes.
turned.
So algorithm takes also heat map and few other considerations, but yes, these reversal points are very important, and that's where you will see a lot of buy and sell signal. When if it is going from bottom to up, you may see the buy signal generated there. When it is going from top to bottom, you
Yeah.
may see a sell signal generated there. There were challenges, of course. When I look back in time, it makes sense. I can pick up my pencil and say, oh, buy here, sell here, buy here,
Mm-hmm.
sell here.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're doing real time, there were, of course, challenges, because you may come across a false positive which can ruin everything. So I
Mm-hmm.
think those challenges, we were able to take care of those challenges by adding certain additional data points,
Yeah.
so that we can be a bit more accurate for these buy and sell signals.
What about the height of the oscillator? Like where it's really, really high up here and you've got
Mhm.
some buy signals, whereas it's not as high over here and you've got some
Mhm.
buy signals. Does that
So
mean anything?
yes, so if oscillator is like, for example, let's look at some examples right here. Let's say
Sure.
go back to time when the COVID drawdown happened. Don't worry about it, just leave it as it is,
Sure.
right? So this actually, there was a steep fall. Like if you think from
Yeah.
um, the angle of it is like it's very steep. It's not like going like this way. It's not like a 45-degree angle, but it's kind of falling right off the
Right.
cliff. And if I've seen that kind of fall in the oscillator, of course, you may also see corresponding fall in the price as well, which you are seeing here. And then when it is changing direction, right? Now I am very much interested because after that steep fall, it is changing direction. And I'm seeing this red heat map there, right? And I'm seeing on the constituent map this big red chart on the left hand side. What does it
Right.
tell me? I mean, uh, it tells me the bottom is here. You know,
Mm,
I am now aggressively looking for opportunities, whether it's for XLF or any other
yeah.
stock. So essentially, this how far it falls, what is the angle of this oscillator actually can help you with making the decision, because what it does, it's essentially corresponding to that potential drawdown that happened, and kind of help you make a decision. Imagine if
Right.
I don't have buy and sell signal, I'll just look at oscillator and heat map to make a decision if I want to go in or out. And I think that
Right.
was the version that was I was explaining you back in the day before these
Yeah.
signals came in.
Yeah. Mahesh should be like, yeah, just, look at the oscillator and make your decision. I'm like, bro, I don't have time for that. Make it easy on me.
No, I get
Perfect.
it. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So, and yeah, you can see those turning points here on the chart, followed by the buy and sell signal associated with them. So, very, very cool. Mahesh, was there any other detail that you want to cover on this screen?
On this screen, let's click on the performance summary.
Oh, yes. This is one of my favorite new additions to the platform. Check this out. When you hit the performance summary, which is right up here, and this is on every stock and ETF, you hit the performance summary. This is something new that was just added in the 2.0 upgrade. You can actually see over time how the outlier signals have performed versus the buy and hold signals. Now, I didn't cherry pick this. It just happened to land on this where outlier outperformed 63% versus 39% on buy and hold. And you've got some other data points over here, right? Total trading days, 1,062 days were measured in the max view, whereas Outlier was only in the market for 474 of those days. 22 days or 22 buy signals occurred over this period. That's it, just 22 trades. The average holding time, 22 days, and the exposure, meaning how long were you in the market? Well, you're in the market 100% of the time when you're buy and hold, where you're only in the market 45% of the time here. Signal returns, we just talked about, and then capital efficiency. And the way that I understand capital efficiency is how long you're in the market versus what your return is compared to buy and hold. So it's 3.66% or 3.66 times more efficient to trade with Outlier than just buy and hold on this. And then the max drawdown here, you can see from whatever the highest point was, max drawdown was only 10% on Outlier versus 42% with buy and hold. So this is a huge, huge improvement here. It's like backtesting immediately right here on the screen. I love this.
Yeah, and again, it's a mixed bag result, and the data is what data is. You may see some stocks where we have not done as good as buy and hold, but it's there for you to look at it for which stocks we have done good. But the key thing here is understanding this data, what it means. I think Chris already did a pretty good job in explaining. Capital efficiency, if you think about it, if capital efficiency is 2x, what does that mean? Imagine a stock gave you 10% return over a period of time. And if you're buy and hold, you are in the market 100% of time. And in our case, let's say the exposure was 50%, but you were able to achieve the same 10% return, then in that case, the capital efficiency will be 2x, because half of the money in the market actually was able to achieve the same return that a buy and hold did. That's how you look at capital efficiency. And max drawdowns are also very, very important. One of our key thing is our algorithm is built is how do you avoid these drawdowns, because no one like drawdown. Imagine you are
Right.
passive investor and you're going through all these 2008 drawdowns, your um, COVID drawdown. You need to perform even better in order to break even. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you're going down 50%, when you are recovering that means you need to probably do way better than 50% in order to even break even. So
Right.
drawdowns can actually impact a lot. So this table is simply explaining how our signals did over that selected period of time against buy and hold, just to give you that feeling of instant back testing of our
Instant.
signals. Yeah.
Absolutely. And actually, it's somewhat dynamic too, because this is on the max view. You can go to 3 month and this will update, right?
Yeah.
So the buy and
Yeah.
hold in this case was 1245. Outlier signals for 574. You could go to the 1 year
Yeah.
and it'll update and give you those data points as well.
Yeah.
So there are times, and I've come across this where maybe Outlier didn't have any signals, right? And so it will show Outlier with a blank basically, and the buy and hold will show what the buy and hold did during that time. So you may run across that, right? And maybe if there's only one signal and it happens to be a loser, it may look like that particular stock just has some crummy returns with Outlier. But then if you zoom out to the max view, you can get a much better representation of how the Outlier signals work versus just how one trade turned out. So I find this extremely useful, and I'm super glad that we have it now.
Yeah, and you will see the similar layout all across the board. Means not just ETFs but also stocks, and sector spiders, or indexes. The only difference is that constituent map. So pretty
Right.
much all across the board, the page layout is same. So that once you get used to it, you won't need like any other help, at least to learn about that platform, because it's
Right.
pretty
In
much
fact, we can pick one of the stocks from the bull list today and see that basically it looks exactly the same from a layout perspective as the one we've been looking at. So this is ACM, and it gives you a little bit of information, right? AECOM in the industrial sector. Today is March 22nd, and so that's going to be the most recent date. And then the performance summary, we can pop that open. You can see Outlier signals at 75.87% there. So lots of familiarity between the ETFs
Mhm.
and the stocks. Really, the only detail that's different is the stock detail down here, where it gives you 52-week range, the market cap, the PE ratio, and the average volume. All useful information if you like to trade on things like that. So it's nice where it's all just easy from one stock to the next. All right, Mahesh, where else on this screen should we cover? We talked about index and sectors and stocks and ETFs. Let's go to the notifications here. I think
Yeah.
this is really handy. So for your notifications, we talked a minute ago. Let me pop open the watch list. We talked a minute ago about how easy it is to add stocks to your favorites list, right? You just click the little star, and I'll do that right now. And you see it'll reload and it has that stock here on my favorites list. Now, it gets even better. If you go to the notifications tab, you'll see the notifications that you've gotten on the stocks that are on your favorites list, right?
Mhm.
So if I add more stocks to that list, I'll see more notifications. Now, these are not just notifications on this screen. They are here, but they also go into your email. So you actually get an email saying, hey, buy signal on SPY. Hey, a sell signal on QQQ. Whatever the case is, it'll actually come straight to your email. And you can even throw some filters on it, right? You can say, I only want to be updated for an overlay change, or I only want to be updated for a buy sell change, or both, right? So I find that super useful. How do you use this, Mahesh?
So it's very simple. If you want to receive any email notification, then all you have to do is make sure that particular stock is in your favorite list. So that means you have to select that star. It need to be in the favorite list in order for you to receive an email in your inbox. Um, Also make sure that you whitelist our email. Sometimes what happens, the email goes into spam. So you want to make sure that you whitelist our email so that it reaches your inbox. But it is very simple, as you explained. All you need to do is you want to add your favorite stocks to your favorite list, and just select if you want to receive buy sell notifications along with overlay notification, or if you don't want to receive, just unselect it and we won't sell you any emails.
Right. Yeah. And I personally love this. I'm really glad that it's an easy feature to have. One thing, Mahesh, that some people love is dark mode. I'm not one of those people, but it's so easy to click that dark mode on or off just like that. So how do you like to use it? Are you a light mode or a dark mode person?
I am a light mode user, but I have a lot of friends who are like dark mode users, and I don't get why. Nothing against them, but I'm a light mode user. So we
Just so
decided
easy.
to provide both because everybody has their own preference. I mean,
Yep.
who am I to tell them what to use?
Exactly. Super easy right there. Next, you'll see the Discord, and it's so easy to join our Discord. Just click that link, and you'll be right inside of the OVTLYR Discord. We are active in that every single day. Discord is actually a really major part and a real major benefit to our members. We can conversate about when we're going to have our trading rooms, which we have every day. We can talk about new trade ideas. And we even have some members who go in there and share their big wins, right? We just had, I think it was Goran yesterday, was talking about a huge win that he had, right? That would have been worth over, where is it at? Would have been over $5,340 in profits on an OVTLYR signal. So we love to hear directly from you, and we love to have you part of our Discord, right? Every single day we get new people. We just had somebody join here a couple minutes ago. So the Discord is a giant, tremendous benefit to you, and it's as easy as clicking that button to get in. Let's go over into the settings. What's in the settings here?
So settings is right now, like if you're a lifetime member, I mean, you don't need to worry about it. But when we will graduate from this lifetime deal to our regular subscription plan, then you will be able to manage your subscriptions right from here. And this is for, managing your subscriptions,
Gotcha.
updating your credit card, all of that. So
awesome. Yeah, I'll need to make sure that you extend my trial after it expires next year. And of course, we have world-class support. I'm telling you, we have some of the best people in the business who are on top of this all the time. In fact, the support is not just through the email support right here. We actually have a dedicated support forum inside of our Discord, if I can click the button, right here, where we cover all kinds of questions, right? In fact, we're going to go over a few of these in a little bit, but we want to make this as easy as possible for you, right? So you can reach out to us directly, or you can post your support questions in the Discord. Either way, we want to make sure that you're taken care of. So Mahesh, inside the platform, what else do we need to look at?
I don't think we need to look at anything else for now. As I said,
Awesome.
we are working on many other things which will be added in near future. And my goal is, to make it as much useful as we can for our members, and in return, of course, learn from them how they're using, so that we can provide better service. So that's a goal is very simple.
Yeah, for sure. And, we get a lot of our feedback on how to make the platform better from our members in the Discord. So if you're already a member of OVTLYR, please go join in on the Discord. You don't have to participate. There's nothing required about that. We just want you to be a part of the community, right? Anytime that you've got something on your mind about OVTLYR, please feel free to reach out to us there. This is not one of those operations where we have a Discord that we never look at. No, we're very, very active on the Discord. It's our main way to talk to you. And that is how we want to make this product better every single day. So speaking of Discord, Mahesh, let's go jump into the Friday special webinar channel we made just for this. So let's start at the top. And this is where we asked for you all to ask your questions, right? We want to make sure that we're talking directly to our customers rather than the YouTube comments where anybody could comment. We want to make sure that we're talking directly to our customers here. So first one says, Brian, assuming a person has entered multiple stocks based on the OVTLYR buy signals, how does one easily identify when a stock has flipped from buy to sell? So I'll take a stab at that question. How do I know if it's easily identified from buy to sell? The easiest way, in my opinion, is add it to your watch list. And then, Brian, the next day you'll wake up when that buy or sell happens, and you'll have that email right in your inbox, and you can say, oh, easy enough, right? Came the notification on the flip from buy to sell came straight to me. Mahesh, what do you think?
Oh, same. No different answer. I think it's the same. Yeah, make sure that you enable the notifications. You whitelist our email so that if you receive it, it doesn't go into spam.
Perfect. Awesome. Great question, Brian. Let me close a couple tabs here. All right. Rabbeat asked, under notifications, I have both buy and sell and overlay options enabled. So let's go over to that real quick. Does this mean I will only be notified when an asset on my watch list receives a buy signal in the green area and a sell signal in the red area?
The answer is no. So it looks at, let's say there's no buy signal or a sell signal that came for that particular stock, but a green overlay comes for that stock. So you will still receive the overlay notification as long as you have enabled it, or if there is a buy came in that green zone, in that green overlay, it will come. So doesn't matter, whatever that we treat overlay as an individual notification, we treat buy sell notification, again as individual event. So you will receive notification for both, irrespective whether they happen concurrently or separate.
Very cool. Awesome. So he's given a couple screenshots here. Mark also answered as well. Mark was unable to join us today. He had a family conflict come up, but yeah, we're trying to take care of that while he's out. No problem. Goran asked about some other things not related to OVTLYR. Can you explain in more detail about the directional volatility histogram? In what cases would it make up your mind about entering a trade? So let's jump into one. Let's go to XLF. We've been on XLF all day. Let's talk about XLF. So Goran's asking about the directional volatility. How do you describe it? Just want to make sure I get it correct. Directional volatility histogram. Yeah. Oh, we talked about that down here, right? And so that gives a real, it's not a tradable data piece like Mahesh was saying earlier, but it's an informational data piece.
Yes, you need to know about the asset, right? In the end, you are trying to long, short, buy option, buy calls, buy puts, whatever. At least you need to know how that stock ETF has performed over last few years. It's just an additional data point that gives you that grip on whether the stock was performing well for the long, performing well for the short. Sometime, if I see a lot of red on the red side, and if all the data points are in my favor, like red overlays here, I see the sell signal, I see a lot of in the green zone, and I know the market is kind of going south. What happens is I change my risk level. Means if I'm going to buy 10 contracts, I may buy 15 contracts.
There you go.
It just making decision on that level. So that's all.
Very cool. Awesome. All right. Groot, I am Groot, will you eventually include the ability to filter results with more financial data, like market cap, float, average volume, etc.? So if we go into an individual stock, so let's just go into Apple, for example. He's asking, is there a way that we can filter on this information down here?
See, right now, I know what he's talking about. He want to like your filters where you want to create like a list of stocks, like a filtered list where you filter by market cap, and other data points, like a lot of these other macro kind of these companies they do. Right now, I would say it's not on our high priority, and I'll tell you the reason why. Because we have our own strength, and if I start getting into building something that some of these other companies have successfully done, so it's gonna take a lot of time and effort from our side. Yeah, I mean, if we are like grown at a point where like we are like a very making money left and right, and grown to a point where we can add more team members, add more technical team members to support these features, I would say yes. We may look into some of the other APIs that's available in the market that can provide this information, and we can negotiate with them for the display rights, because again, depending on the cost and all that, for all of these things we'll make that decision. But honestly, at this point of time, it is low on our radar.
Gotcha. Okay. Next question. Can we get alerts? This is from Brian. Can we get alerts set up for stocks when they hit certain colors? So I believe we covered that earlier. So if you look at the notifications here, you can get the overlay. But maybe, for example, maybe he's talking about
I get
the
it.
heat map.
Yeah, I get it. So right now, it is not like it's not there yet. But I did talk to Mark a few days ago about making notification a little bit more in depth, right? And we may not do that right away, but I think we already noted that down as one of the items that we need to address in coming updates. So we will definitely consider um, uh, making sure that you can, add custom events, custom trigger events, like, hey, it hit r, I don't 25, you want to get notification. Yes, we can do that, but it's not there yet. We will focus on it in future releases.
Excellent. Okay, cool. We talked about this earlier. What information is sourced for the heat map regarding investor actions?
Yeah, we did touch base on that.
Gotcha.
So,
Groot is asking, does the list update at the same time every day? Good question. What time does the list get updated each day, Mahesh?
I'll give you exact answer probably in a day or so, like probably by Monday. But
Okay.
before this release happened, like it was getting updated at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. So that is 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. Uh, because we are in process of optimizing, a few things here and there. We're trying to see if we can do certain things, finish certain processes faster, so that we can display it, even earlier than that. So give me some time to look into it. If we are actively working on it, maybe a little bit more time, but I can let you guys know when
Okay.
we are exactly updating.
Well, I actually didn't realize it was the night before. Like I thought
Oh yeah, we
I
are.
thought it
We
just
are. I mean,
updated
it's
sometime
not.
in the morning.
Yeah, I personally right now I'm not like actively trading from because of this release, but I'm planning to do it soon. My strategy is I spend 30 minutes or 20 minutes a night before market open. I do some early um, uh, strategy building, what to look, which stocks to focus, and then I wake up in the morning and spend maybe 10 minutes, and then I place the trades. So
Wow.
that's kind of like how I do it.
Very cool. All right. L Wargs says, can we have a range filter for signal returns? Oh, so maybe I think his question is signal return. So like performance summary here. So on Apple, Outlier shows 90.97%. Is there a way that we could add a filter? Because we don't right now. That's like, hey, Outlier has, at least a greater than zero return.
Okay, got it. So we'll see. We'll look into it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll look into it.
Of course. Thank you all so much for providing these questions to make this a really, really solid webinar. The biggest advantage that you have as a customer of Outlier is the fact that you can conversate directly through the Discord to us directly, right? So Mahesh, he's a CEO. He is absolutely making sure everything he can to make this the best product on the market, hands down. And the best way that we can do that is by you letting us know how can we make this better inside the Discord. So Mahesh, thank you so much for your time today. We covered a ton of
Oh,
stuff. We're going to be chopping this up, putting it all over the website to make it easier for everybody with the instructional videos on how, hey, how do I use this? How do I use that? We got you covered, right? So is there any other areas or concerns or anything else you want to chat about while we got you on the line?
no, I think that's pretty much it. As I said, these webinars are very important. Maybe when we do another major release, we can talk about those features. But I think our goal is very simple: keep building some of these key things, which help active investors and traders, to do better. I think that's pretty much our goal. To help you in the end. You are the decision maker. You are the guys who are gonna make it happen. But we are here to support that, and we'll continuously keep adding these features, these useful data points that you can use, and hopefully you guys can provide us feedback how we are doing. So I think that's pretty much it from my side.
Very cool. Mahesh, really, again, sincerely, thank you for your time. I have the trading room that I'm now late for, but that is okay.
Right.
It was worth the time to do this with you. And we look forward to seeing everybody here. And then the Discord, Peter says, thanks a lot. Scott says, thank you. Good job. We appreciate both of you and everyone else who watched today. This webinar will be live forever on YouTube. And like I said, we're going to chop this up, put the individual areas where they go inside of the OVTLYR platform, and go over onto the OVTLYR channel and jump into the trading room live stream, which will go live in just a couple minutes. So thank you all so much for coming today. And thank you again, Mahesh.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, everybody.
See you later.
Bye.